Hey guys, Polly and Taylor here from Beaten Jeans. Today we're interviewing Kathryn, and Kathryn, we just recently connected with her, and we instantly connected. She's very similar to us as far as lifestyle and feelings towards gastrectomy and all that. So we're so excited to talk to her. Let me go ahead and invite her in here. And please forgive me, I have a cold right now. So my throat is a little raspy, my nose is a little runny. Hi,
Hi.
Kathryn! How are you?
I'm good. How are y'all?
Good. Oh, we're good.
It's so good to finally be doing this and to meet you guys in person.
I know, right? It's always so like talking to a celebrity or something. It's like, oh, wow. Finally, we're talking to each other.
I know. And I'm sorry that we have to bond over this, but I'm glad that it brought us together. So
yeah, that's true. A twisted fate brought us together.
Yes.
Very twisted.
Yes. It's a small club, but someone's got to do it.
Right. Have you met any other seahorses?
Just like at NIH, so my first, as soon as I found out about CDH1, I went straight to Instagram and just searched hashtag CDH1. And this girl had an open profile and she had a Bible verse on one of her pictures. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to do it. And I sent her a DM, and she actually had her surgery at MD Anderson, but she and I have become friends, and her name is Emily, and she walked me through my entire process. She sent me flowers at the hospital, such a tender person. And she now has her, she's 2 years ahead of me. And she has a little boy now. And so I've gotten to see kind of her journey, and she gave me a lot of hope, and, just that life could be normal, and we're around the same age, so it's honestly, she's been a godsend. So
I think that's important to have somebody like a mentor, anybody, just to kind of relay your feelings off of. If you have questions, that they know they're the only people who understand this, right? So you gotta have
yeah. And I do have some family members who are also seahorses, so I have them to lean on as well. But having a girl my age who I can be like, hey, does this happen to you?
Right. Something that your dad might not always encounter,
Exactly.
Girl issues, right? Yeah.
Yes. Right. And my dad is just like a rock star. He can eat steak. He can eat a whole steak, and he eats pie, and he eats all the things.
Oh, wow.
And I know. And he'll have a few sips of Coke, and it makes me, just one or two, but still I'm just oh my gosh, because I'm a little bit more delicate. And so, he's like, yeah, you could do it. And I'm like, no, I can't.
Isn't it so interesting how everybody's so different? Yeah, that's why there's no playbook on how to do this.
Exactly.
It's so different for everyone. Yeah.
I know.
Well, where are you coming to us from?
I live in Dallas, Texas. So big hair, closer to God. So but my family lives in Tennessee. So I've been out here for a long while, and that's been kind of one of the more challenging things, is because I live by myself, and so I actually spent 8 weeks right after surgery with my parents so that they could kind of take care of me. And yeah, they babied me, and I was a little pitiful there for a while, and then it was time to not be sick anymore. And so I had about 8 weeks of having my mom kind of wait on me hand and foot, and then it was time.
That's what parents are there for, right?
Yes. And she had been doing it for my dad, so she was a pro at taking care of us seahorses. So yeah.
Well, take us back to the beginning. How did you learn that you carry this mutation?
Yeah, kind of came out of nowhere. So my paternal great grandmother and grandmother and great uncle all passed away way too early in life. But I mean, we never knew to look for a genetic connection. Like that just wasn't, I mean, on top of mind. But my dad is one of four, and he has a twin sister, and she just decided to get genetic testing done. She had the whole panel done, and it came back for the CDH1 variants. And that was fall of 2018. By spring of 2019, we had all been tested. So out of the four siblings, three of them have CDH1 variants. And then out of the next generation, it's me and one of my cousins. Okay. So definitely like it's a strong gene variance. Like
it is. Do you have siblings?
I do. I have an older brother, and he tested negative, which we were all really grateful because he has young kids. And so I'm glad that if one of us had to have it, that it was me instead of him, because, I mean, we would be worried sick over my little niece and nephew. So I'm glad I could take one for the team. But yeah, so my dad went ahead and had his first biopsy done, he and his siblings, and they found signet rings in all of them.
All three of them?
Yes.
And were they all three at the NIH, or did you guys?
We all went NIH, and
okay.
My aunt actually got us kind of going on that. And we just decided if we were going to do it, let's just do it all together. And, hopefully NIH can learn something from having so many stomachs from the same, I guess, sequence.
Right.
Yeah. But so I went in August of 2019 to meet the NIH team, and I was understandably very concerned and worried, and I say that there's nothing I do better in life than worry. Like I'm a pro. So sitting down with Dr. Davis was just really crucial for me, and I told him, I was like, I want you to be honest with me. I don't want you to sugarcoat it. And he did not. He was like, look, your body, your choice, but you need to acknowledge that you have something inside of you that has, the potential to kill you. And he was like, if you're worried about it, then let me take it out. The worry will go away. The fear will go away. Life might look a little bit different, but, you get a whole new lease on life. Yeah. And that moment for me, this has been as much of a spiritual journey as it has been a physical journey. And I look back at that moment and, I think about our salvation, right? Because when we go to Christ, he says, look, you have something inside of you, you have sin, and it's going to kill you. But if you let me take it away, if you let me remove it, you don't have to live in fear. You don't have to worry. And you get a whole new lease on life. And that's my story. And in and of itself, like that's all I can do is if my life is supposed to magnify Christ, then I have to take what I've been given, and that's having my stomach removed and just shoot it back to heaven. So that's the story I'll tell until he calls me home or comes back for us. And
well, I love it because look at you now, and you did it. You're on the other side of things, and you don't have that worry anymore. And
I don't.
There is life after it, right? And it's beautiful. I think that's so wonderful to follow in that path.
And I know that, I mean, every day I say that you go from having a lot of bad days to just having like bad moments. Right. And those first 8 weeks were tough. Like there's no getting around it. It's tough. And there were moments that I really questioned, like, did I make a mistake? And then I got my pathology report. And even though my biopsies came back, no signet cells, I was the only one in the family who didn't have any signet cells. And I had 12 spots when they did the full pathology.
Wow.
Yeah. And
it was all worth it. It was all worth it.
Totally worth it. Yeah. And just like no looking back, like, I mean, it saved my life, and now who knows? I mean, that's the big question, right? Like what triggers it? Like if we could answer that, then we could all, avoid this, and hopefully in a few years they'll know, but right now they don't. So.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now you have a blog. It is called Hard to Digest. Everyone should go and look it up because it is incredibly well written, and you
with humor.
With a lot of humor.
Yes.
And
well,
it just you go through the process step by step, which is really good for people like us who haven't gone through it yet to read and just really be in that moment with you. So you had sort of a hard time in the hospital right after your surgery, and not only that, it was COVID and you were alone, which made it
alone. Yes.
Sure.
Well, first of all, thank you for reading. I know I am long-winded, so it's like a labor of endurance to get through one post.
No, I don't. I was easy.
No,
breezy.
yeah, I just sat there and
I
read the whole
wanted
thing.
more. I was like, that's all she's got. I want more.
Thank you. Yeah, so my dad had his surgery January of 2020. He right before COVID, and I went with him. I'm a see it, touch it, feel it kind of a person, and so I thought if I can be there with him, A, to support him, but B, to just be able to visualize, okay, this is what it's going to feel like, or this is how they're going to take me out of, the bed, put me, all of the little details.
Wait, were you able to, so you could go in there with him and
it was before COVID.
It was before COVID.
You could go in the recovery room and everything?
So I was there as soon as he got out of the recovery room.
Wow. Okay.
So, I watched them take him out of the operating bed and put him into his bed. And for a logistics person, I was thrilled to be able to think about that and be like, okay, that's what it's going to look like. That's what it's going to be. This is what day 1 is going to be like. This is what day 2. And my experience was a lot different than my dad's. We are very competitive with each other. Yeah. And so I was benchmarking all of his 7 a.m. the morning after his surgery. He was like, I'm ready to get up. I'm ready to walk. And I was like, what? Wow. And he was like, yep, I'm going to walk to the end of the hallway. And even his nurse was like, you okay? And so I was writing it down. I was like, okay, day 1, 300 feet.
At 6 a.m.
Yes. That didn't happen for me. So I had my first night, was I was praying to just God come get me, because the pain was so intense. So when they did the epidural, so they lean you over the thing and they're putting it into your spine, and I totally passed out. I mean, it made my blood pressure drop, which means they couldn't do the cold touch test on me to see if it was in properly.
Working on both sides, right?
Yeah. And it wasn't. It sure wasn't. So around 1 a.m., the I guess early morning after surgery, I woke up and I couldn't breathe. My breathing was very just and I'm calling the nurse, and I only had the numbing through my IV because they took the fentanyl out. When I woke up from surgery, I was like, is my chest supposed to feel this tight? And they were like, no. And so we figured out I was allergic to the fentanyl. And so they took it out of the the epidural and just had the bupivacaine. And so I was only on Tylenol, and later they would give me like an IV of Toradol. But I didn't do any other opioids or narcotics.
That's not enough.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
It played in my favor because the opioids, I knew from like past surgeries that the opioids made me really nauseous.
Mhm.
And also, you know, they just kind of, they shut down your entire intestinal system.
Right.
So I recovered a lot quicker that way, but it was not fun.
Oh my, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. So you can do it without opioids if you want to. I mean, just
No.
for
You're strong.
oh gosh. Well, you know, and the nurse didn't know how to help me because she was like, well, just keep pressing your bolus button. And I was like, but there's nothing in there. Like, I'm not getting any drugs. And I had already had my Tylenol for the evening. And so, I mean, it was just, I had to just breathe through it. And I asked her, I was like, can you just put the oxygen on me? Because like, I can't take a breath. Like the pain was so intense that I could not just, because your whole abdomen is,
Right.
do what?
Did she put oxygen on you?
She did put oxygen on me, and she was like, you know, just set an alarm and every 15 minutes wake up and press your button. And I was like, but the button's not doing anything because it's like,
Right.
I'm not numbing my whole abdomen.
Right.
It's just numbing one side.
Right.
So the next day, they they came back, anesthesia came back, and they did the cold test on me while I was wide awake. And they were like, oh, wow, you're like actually really not numb on this side. And I was like, no, I'm not.
Like, I've been trying to tell
Do
you.
you think I was lying?
Yes. And so they ended up, I had just had a heparin shot, and they can't mess with your epidural until that's worn off. So they said, okay, we'll come back, you know, in 8 hours.
Oh.
I was like, okay. So, and like, in the meantime, you know, all of my other organs, I've been just pumping bupivacaine into my system. So I wasn't really like, it was just kind of like a wasted day because I had to mainly just like lay down for the day. So it wasn't joyful, that's for sure.
Oh,
Like,
it sounds so awful. And okay, so this all happened because of the epidural.
yes.
You passed out because of the medication that was in the epidural, or because of the epidural actually going in, like you
Or
got
can drop
light?
your blood pressure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So the epidural actually going in, and I guess I'm just very sensitive to it. So they ended up putting the epidural a little bit too far in, because when the
Okay.
anesthesiologist came back, she pulled it out and she was like, this is about 2 centimeters further than it should be.
Okay.
And so they pulled it out, and then they had to run the bolus like back through my system to flush it out. I
Mhm.
passed out again. And I woke up and I was like retching, and I was so nervous. I like, my poor nurse that day, she was wonderful, but I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to be leaking? Did I just like tear something? Because, you know, even just like making any
Junction.
exactly,
Oh, right.
I was so paranoid, and I was like, I need Dr. Davis to tell me I didn't do anything. And you know,
Yeah.
and Dr. Davis is so wonderful, as you guys know. I mean, but he knows how to like take care of us all in our own quirky ways, because I'm a little high maintenance, and he took very good care of me. And I was convinced that that I had something wrong with my spleen, because I had like such an intense pain like right at the bottom of my rib cage. And every single doctor who would come in, like the fellow, whatever, I'd be like, I think I might need like a scan or something. And finally, like one of the fellows, like after everybody had left, was like, that's not where your spleen is. And I was like, okay. So not my spleen. But on Desperate Housewives, Susan had a wandering spleen. So let's just think about that.
It could happen, yeah.
It happens. And they were like, please stop watching Grey's Anatomy. Please stop looking things up on WebMD.
Yeah. So what was the pain that you were experiencing that you thought
was nerve endings. Okay. Yeah. And it went away after about 2 weeks. So yeah, so it was, and Dr. Davis was like, just stretch it out. I was really protective over like just my whole abdomen. Like I wanted a pillow over it always. Like I felt like a mother protecting its newborn. Like I just like, so when I would walk, I would kind of walk a little hunched over, and Dr. Davis was always like, you need to stand up straight. Like you need to stretch all of that out. And I was just like, but I want to take care of it. Like I feel like I need to like hug it,
Right. Yeah.
But so I think as I finally started to stand up straight and really stretch out my whole abdomen, the pains kind of started working itself out. My intestines like finally were kind of like learning their new job, because this is a job that they've never had before and they didn't sign up for it. And they're used to being salary, and now they're commission. So it's just like, I mean, they're like, I just want to show up, do my job, and go home.
Yeah.
Now we're asking a lot of them. Yeah. But
so how long did it take for all that pain to go away? I know you stayed with your parents for 8 weeks. Did it take that long for you to be like, okay, I'm comfortable now? Or was it just other side effects? I want to know about the pain. How long did that last?
So, and I'm pretty delicate. But my pain after, probably 4 weeks, I wasn't feeling really any kind of pain or discomfort. Only when I would eat something too quickly or ate the wrong thing, which that's hard to explain because it's different for each person, and you kind of only know that it's the wrong thing after you've eaten it. And trial and error. But my pain during the day was minimal. I mean, very minimal. As soon as I got home from the hospital, my little nerve ending that I thought was my spleen went away maybe within a week. And then it probably took the next 3 weeks. I would get pain at night. And I think it was, I was trying to drink water at night, and it would just kind of like work its way through my intestines. I was also still eating red meat and pork, and I have now figured out that that does not work for me. I haven't had red meat or pork in almost a year, and I feel so much better. So, but in the beginning, because my dad was eating, red meats, and I mean, I have been a carnivore my whole life. So, was eating just kind of what I would regularly eat, and finally figured out, oh wait, this is not going to work for me. So my pain was food related, not necessarily like operation related.
Right. Okay.
But yeah.
So then you're not eating meat now. You
are eating fish, right?
I eat fish and I eat chicken, and turkey if nothing else is available. But if I could, right, exactly. If I can do a fish, I do eat a lot of tofu. I never thought I would be that person, but I am that person now. And, because honestly, it's not worth it. Like there are some things like a couple bites of ice cream that's worth it. But, to eat I mean, I just, I look at something and I'm like, even though that looks good, like a couple weeks ago, some girls were having Shake Shack, and I was just like, nope, not going to do it. Like, I'm just going to, find something else, because it honestly is not worth the pain. So.
Right.
Is that what happens to you? Is that, so for you is that right? Is that the dumping? So you get cramping?
Yes. So the cramping really, so I look at it differently than like regular dumping. When I eat like red meat or pork, I was just feeling really lethargic, really just zero energy. And that's how I kind of came to eliminate it from my diet. Is Rachel and I had a conversation because I was just dead all day, like couldn't do anything more than just like get up and go to work. And I just felt all day. And she was like, take me through what you're eating, you know. And it was her suggestion of like, hey, let's try cutting out, let's stick to, you know, let's stick to fish, let's stick to tofu. And I did that for a really long time. And then I started reintroducing chicken and turkey, and I've been able to do those. But it made a world of a difference.
It's so nice to have her there to help you through that, isn't it?
She is a
Incredible.
godsend. Like, if for no other reason, I mean, Dr. Davis is reason enough to go to NIH, but to have Rachel, I mean, she is just the sun and moon. And she's so patient. I feel like she's also like part therapist, because, you know, your whole life kind of revolves around what you eat and drink. And, you know, she takes the time to understand not only like what you're eating, but also when you're eating it, which is just huge, because, you know, I was probably eating too many sugars, natural sugars, like in the morning, and I was getting jittery. And so, you know, now we've just worked around it. So, and she brings things to mind that you just wouldn't even think of. And you're like, oh yeah, like that totally makes sense now that you say it. But she's wise. She's so wonderful.
We agree.
And I loved on your blog how you did your food journal. Paula actually screenshot
I did. I screenshot.
But there's one important thing that a lot of people might not know, and it's the liquid and the solid. So you have to drink liquids like 30 minutes prior to eating, and you cut it off, right? Because you cannot be mixing the two.
Yeah. So I have actually gotten, my dad is very strict about his food and then liquid. I really struggle with liquids, like just in general. You just saw, like, I can do a straw. Straws work better. You know, a lot of people are like, don't use a straw because you get too much air. I get too much air if I'm opening my mouth and like drinking. Right. So the straw makes so much more sense for me. But I have found that I can actually drink more water if I've just eaten something. So I split my meals even smaller than, I guess, regular seahorses, so that I can have liquid and food at the same time. But I'm just having, you know, this much and then this much liquid. And then 20 minutes later, I go back and I eat that much, and then I drink that much.
Okay.
And it
so
works
you're
for
eating
me
all day long.
Oh, it is a full-time job. I mean, it is just, and I'm very fortunate that I have a job that allows me to eat and drink all day long. So, and you know,
What do you
and
do?
I work in the oil and gas world. And so I work with a bunch of men, and they are so sweet and so good to me. And they're so aware of my situation. We're a small team, and they are just so good to me. And they know, like, if I've eaten something wrong, because we have like a horseshoe shaped office. And if I have eaten something wrong, I'll just have to walk laps. They're like, did you eat something wrong? I'm like, yep, just gotta walk it off, you know.
No.
Yeah, they're really, really good to me. And so I just keep all of my snacks in the fridge, and I mean, I'm always eating or drinking something. So,
and you're like a really social person. Like, you've got like an evening life, right? So how is that affecting that part?
yeah,
like the drinking and the eating and socializing. Like, how is that now?
yeah. So, I don't drink alcohol. I wasn't really a big drinker like before surgery. And by not big drinker, I wasn't. So I'm Southern Baptist, so we just don't do that. But, but eating and going to dinner with friends, right? Like, for, you know, and I thank my friends because they're very supportive of, my situation, but it is a little bit hard to eat slower than everybody else, just because that's the one thing that, like, because you kind of mimic other people's behavior. And if they're eating quickly, then you start to eat faster. And I've had many moments where I'm like, whew, I need to slow this down. So, it's honestly just like keeping yourself in check. But for the most part, like, if people want to go somewhere, then fine. I can find anything on a menu. I mean, if most places have like some sort of salmon or grilled chicken salad, or, you just kind of make do, and just acknowledging, like, I will probably have to have like a to-go box. And then when I get home, like, I'll eat the other half of it and then put the rest in the fridge, or, it's a lot more normal than people think. And a lot of people forget that I am living without a stomach, just because, if you don't act like it's a big deal, then it really isn't. So
that's good.
Yeah, but I went on a girls trip, just like right at my 1-year anniversary, and we did hiking, and we did, we went to the pool, we went to dinners, and I did have to take more breaks when we went hiking. I just took like a little fanny pack and like packed my snacks. I feel like a little old lady. Like, I always have snacks. Like, there are never snacks not within, like, arm's reach. But, it was fine. I did get more tired. And they went and did something, and I was like, I think I'm actually going to go back to the room and take a nap. Like, so, but I have great friends, and they understood. And so you just kind of have to work around your own limitations, and energy management, which is so challenging because, like, I want to do everything, right? Like,
You're very active. You have a Peloton too, like I do. And you said that your output now is half of what it used to be.
Yes,
correct?
That is correct. Especially, so I got the bike beginning of quarantine, and this was pre-surgery, so was hitting much higher outputs. And now when I get on the bike, I just struggle. It is a hardship to get on there, and I also can't do like 45 or 60-minute classes. I've done a couple 45ers, and I, like, at 30 minutes, I'm like, I should have just done a 30-minute, But so maybe that just means that I sit back and just kind of slowly pedal and finish the class, because I'm not a quitter. But like the competitive nature in me, like, I just have to like turn the leaderboard off.
Oh yeah. Have to, right? Your name dropping, like, no,
I know. I did take one class, and I was feeling a little bit more sprightly, and how you just like get the one name and you're like, I'm gonna beat that person. Yes. and I, with love, and I like just about killed myself, but I was like, I am going to win, and I did, but I was spent for the rest of the day. I was like, and that's it. I'm done.
Like, turning that leaderboard off from now on.
Yes.
It's not worth the reduction in the energy level.
Exactly. Yes. So now I have the tread, and that has been a game changer for me, because being able to walk, it helps your digestion. It helps, you get those endorphins without having to put so much output like you do with the bike, and it helps your bones. And so love the tread.
I'm gonna get one of those.
You need to get one. Yeah.
I'm not a bike, but I like running.
Yes.
And then, so like your 9-month, you went in, and you said something about Davis saying that you couldn't lift more than a gallon of milk.
Has that changed now?
Yes. So I was really, again, I'm fragile. So I asked him, I was like, I don't want a hernia because, you know, that was one of the big things that he said, like, if you get a hernia, it's kind of your fault. Like, I'm not going to fix it. And which, like, they shouldn't. Right. And I was like, then I don't want a hernia. Like, I don't want another surgery. B, I don't want like a bump on my abdomen. And, you know, C, I just want to do things correctly. Like, I want to do things the right way. And so I was really very cautious, like with lifting and with pretty much like I would always bend down with my knees. I wouldn't lean over. And he gave me the illustration, like imagine that you've like punched a hole in the wall and you come back in and you drywall over it, you paint over it, and it's going to look the exact same, but you're never going to hang a portrait there. And that just made so much sense to me because, I mean, that's how our little abdomens are now that he's like sliced us open. You're just a little bit more tender there. Right. But now I've gotten confident enough, and I've also strengthened my other core muscles that I feel much more confident to do like deadlifts or, you know, really just using heavier weights in general. And when I went back for my 1 year, he was like, yeah, you're fine. And I was like, okay, well, glad that I worried for nothing.
So I didn't, that's interesting. So after your year mark, you're pretty free and clear from having a hernia happen. Is that what
I mean, I think my understanding is we're always just a little bit more prone to them because we just don't have this. I mean, it's been interfered with. Mm-hmm. But I think that maybe Dr. Davis didn't realize how literal I was going to take his warning, you know, but I was like, you said, so I'm going to do, like, you said it. So, you know, yeah, I think that even though we probably are a little bit more prone, you know, our other muscles compensate so amazingly, and the body is just truly a miracle. So all of those little core muscles working together.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad to hear your story, because reading your blog in the beginning, it was like, I was like, oh Lordy.
I know, really it's scary.
But look at how far you've come. You have come so far. You've conquered so much, and you're doing so well.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it, you know, and I felt like it was important to kind of share the good, bad, and ugly, just because, you know, I want other people to be able to kind of anticipate, like, you know, what it could look like. And also, you know, I believe that pain is universal. So people, even without a stomach, like, or with a stomach, who will never have this problem, you know, I think that there's something really connecting about pain and just kind of struggle. And so I didn't want to isolate anyone with my writing. So we can all share in pain.
I appreciate not having, like you said, you didn't want Dr. Davis to sugarcoat. I appreciate the openness and just you sharing every detail. It just makes me feel prepared, like you did being your dad, you know?
Right.
Well, I know. And Dad, like, so I did beat him though. So he beat me on everything else, but I got my epidural out a day earlier than anyone in my family. I know. You just put on my crown. Thank you.
You won.
I won. But yeah, he beat me on everything else. So, but he's a great role model, and I aspire to be like him in a lot of ways, but especially in his seahorse life. So he's a special one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to ask you one more thing about the mastectomy. So you are doing surveillance right now. Is that correct? Or are you just
I am, yes. So I have met with a breast surgeon, well, the reconstruction doctor, which is really, very important. And he works in tandem with the breast surgeon who will actually remove the tissue. I had implants in 2010. I had an explant in lift in 2018. So this will be my third breast surgery. And so knowing how painful it is from my last two surgeries, I'm just not in a place where I'm ready for it. And the surgeon, the reconstruction surgeon was like, I'm here whenever you're ready. And my MRIs have been consistent. I go back in September for another one. There's like one spot on my right side that's not worrisome, but they've had me do like an ultrasound for. But the doctor was like, I think that it's just like an oil duct that's calcified. So she feels confident that it's nothing too worrisome. So as long as that can stay kind of is consistent, I'm gonna wait at least another year and just kind of let my body heal a little bit more.
I think that's a good plan.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm 33. Like I just keep losing body parts, like
Right.
I just kind of want to let my body rest. And so, but I am definitely going to have it done. I just, maybe when I'm 35, it'll be my present to myself. Woohoo!
That's the lesson that we've learned from a lot of people that we've talked to is you have to listen to your body, and your body knows when it's time. It will know when it's time to do your mastectomy.
It's just like you knew when it was time to do your stomach, and you have to have that mental clarity and in order to have the strength to succeed after.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, because I went into my gastrectomy and I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to this is going to be great. I'm going to knock this out of the park. I'm going to win. And right now I'm just like, oh, the surgery will win. Like I just don't, the fight is, so it's definitely just not time for it. But, if there is a difference in my MRI this fall, then obviously I will jump on the gun and do it. But it's just as long as, Dr. Davis says, you can wait one more year. I'm going to wait one more year. So,
are you doing your MRIs at NIH?
Yes.
Okay.
So I get the MRIs done there, and then every 6 months, or I guess in between, I get it done here at my gynecologist.
Ultrasound?
Yes, yeah.
Mammogram. Oh.
The mammogram, yeah. And they do the 3D one or whatever.
Right.
And my gynecologist is like, I wouldn't wait past 35. And I'm like, all right, then I have 2 more years.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's interesting. Now that she's well aware of the mutation and she thinks that you should go forward with it, because a lot of doctors don't understand the risk of it.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm so fortunate that she is, and she had me come in and she was like, I want to know about this because, there was a big debate. I have endometriosis. And so I'm on a birth control to help keep that in check. Mm-hmm. And I was really concerned about having my stomach removed. Is this going to affect the way that, that it works? And they were like, yeah, NIH was like, yeah, you might want to consider getting an IUD. And I went and I talked to my gynecologist and I was like, I really, really don't want the IUD. I like the medication that I'm on. I like the dosage. It doesn't make me feel like a crazy person. And I'm worried that I might create more problems, introducing a new hormone to my body. Yeah. And she was like, this is really hard for me to go against NIH, but, let's do what you want. And if it doesn't work, then we'll try, the IUD. And it's been fine. And everything has my poor little body. So, but my doctor here was like, so tell me all about, she was like, you're going to educate me. And I was like, well, you can also go watch Grey's Anatomy season 5, episode 17, where they talk about CDH1.
They do? Really?
They do. Yes. There's an episode completely dedicated to CDH1.
Oh my gosh.
I gotta go look that up.
What season is it?
It's season 5, episode 17, I believe.
Oh, we should totally watch it.
Is it
Yeah.
real? It's probably totally not realistic.
Oh yeah, I asked Rachel about it, and she was like, "Yeah, I've seen it." And I was like, "Shonda, call us. We can give you some like pointers on how to make a better episode about it." But I know, it's so funny. Basically, we're famous. So
Basically.
I have one other question about your bone density scan that you had. You had some loss.
I did, yes. So I had 6% loss in my spine and 14% loss in my hips. So yeah, not great. And
that's all while supplementing calcium. Correct?
Yes. And so that's not awesome. I have yet to meet with an endocrinologist, which was Rachel's recommendation. Honestly, it's just been my own laziness that I haven't met with one. And like, I don't want someone else to tell me that something is wrong with me. But so I, in addition to my calcium, citrate that I take, and I take the bariatric fusion chewables. I was taking, I think it's like the Berry Care, which has a higher vitamin D added to it, but my vitamin D was like through the roof. And Rachel was like, we need to get this under control, because if you have too much vitamin D, then you're actually doing harm to your bones. Oh. So I had to go off of like the good calcium. And I say good because it just tastes better, to like the just pure calcium citrate, like little horse pills. Oh. And I mean, is it my fault? Because sometimes I would skip a dose because I would be like, I just can't swallow it today. Like I literally can't swallow the pill. Hard pill to swallow. So that could have affected like the loss. But now I'm very, very diligent about I take 2 of the chewy pills, and then I take 1 dose of the horse pills. And I also take collagen, 2 scoops of collagen every morning. I've started doing the weight training with my big old 10-pound weights and the walking / jogging, and I use those terms very loosely, but I have never been a runner, and I will never be a runner, but I try. But hopefully with those I can at least like Rachel said that I won't ever be able to really rebound that bone density, but I can at least stop it from dropping more, which is like now the goal.
Right.
So,
wow. Well, that's unfortunate to hear, but I'm glad that you've got it under control now, and hopefully that's the end of the
sounds like you have a nice plan.
Yeah. And
hopefully that works to stop.
Hopefully, yes. I know. We'll see in September when I go for my next DEXA. Yeah. Well, so I know. I just, it is very discouraging when like you are doing all the right things, and then you're like, but my body has just said no thanks, I'm done.
What about your teeth? Does that affect your teeth?
So I haven't had any issues with my teeth. My dad and brother are actually both dentists, so I have veneers, and so, but yeah, I will say in terms of my teeth, I have experienced like more plaque just because I'm eating all the time. And so I find myself like brushing my teeth even more, just to kind of combat that, you know, just for a healthy smile. But yeah, hardly, but thank you. It's like, can add all of these things to my dating profile.
My toothbrush and toothpaste with me everywhere I go, right?
Yes. And I also keep in my purse just like a little thing of mouthwash. And there's one, it's Colgate's, it's Peroxyl. And it's so good for your mouth's health, and I just keep like a little bottle of that in my purse so that even if I don't have my whole like toothbrush system, I can at least like run to the bathroom and like freshen up a little bit. So
you get those toothbrushes, those travel ones that have the toothpaste already built into the bristles. Like,
yes,
throw it away.
Yeah.
Not the best for the environment, Taylor. No. Well, it's convenient.
It is convenient, yes. And you can ask for those at NIH. I think that's one of the only things that you can have the day of surgery, like when you get out of surgery, because they don't want you producing like any extra saliva or anything like that. Okay. But they can give you like one of the Oral-B little mouthwashes things, and it's a little brush that has a little bit of toothpaste on it. So yeah, I mean, big time. I didn't ask for one, but Dad did, and he enjoyed it greatly.
It's a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
For me, I was too concentrated on the fact that I could feel the right side of my abdomen.
Yes, you can appreciate pain.
Yes.
Oh my God. Thank goodness that's just a memory now. I know.
Yes. Yeah. And, you know, I mean, it really does, like, I don't want anyone to ever, like, feel scared or, you know, just like, oh, this is going to be, like, so awful, because it really does get better. Like, it really gets back to normal. And I think it was Rachel who told me, she was like, you know, one day you'll just wake up and it may be 6 months, it may be a year, and your body, like, it just clicks, and it happens, you know, like, it's just like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how it's going to work. And it really is amazing that the body can just reorganize itself. And like I said, I want to see it, touch it, feel it. And so, like, when I eat or drink something, I try to, like, visualize it going down, and just, like, I don't know, it helps me. But, you know, my portions have gotten a lot bigger. I've gained back about 4 pounds, which is, you know, like, don't tell Rachel, but I'm fine with having not gained it back. But it's good that I did, because I was getting a little bit too gaunt. But, you know, I mean, it really does get better, and it's just getting over, like, that first little hump, and then you start to enjoy, like, everything as a victory, right? Like, the day that I got to eat fresh mango and then frozen mango, and I was like, yay, like, I get to eat fruit, like, I'm so proud of myself. And it really makes you just appreciate the little things. And, you know, I think, honestly, what a great way to live. Like, if we can see it, like, as a blessing, like, I mean, it strips you down to just, like, your most basic level of humanness. And it's like, I am so amazed that my body can do this, and just being proud of, you know, your body for supporting you and enjoying the miracle, that which is, like, eating a salad. And I mean, there's a lot of good that can be seen, and I feel really, really humbled to have been chosen for this journey, because I mean, it's been hard, but, like, all that I've learned through it, like, I wouldn't trade it.
Wow. Those are great words of advice and words to live by. And
know.
Such a good outlook. I know. That really brings me, like, peace for you too. It kind of makes me want to cry. Just to say that you're honored to be given this is like, wow, I've been looking at it all wrong this whole time. And so thank you for that. That was beautiful.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, like it's not fun. But it is like, you know, I mean, and if I feel like, you know, if one person can hear my story and y'all's story, and y'all have done such an amazing job of bringing this little community of ours together. You know, I mean, I have to believe that the same God that tells the ocean how far it can come up onto shore, when he was knitting me together in my mother's womb, he looked at me and he said, this is going to be good for you to have this gene. And so we serve a good God, and there's joy in it somewhere. And some days it's a lot harder to find, but if just one person hears my story and seeks Jesus because of it, then I'm humbled to have been given this burden.
Well, you will. And I just think of all the the moms and the dads with the babies who are looking at your story, and
Yeah.
who you're helping so many people, and it's just
Thank
incredible.
you.
And yeah, thank you for your
Yes,
positivity.
we appreciate you so much.
Oh, I appreciate you guys. I'm so glad that, like I said, I'm sorry that it's under these conditions, but I'm so glad to have met you guys. And you know, we're a funny little bunch, aren't we? We're fun and dysfunctional. So.
I love how everyone is so nice. Like, I want to meet everybody that we talk to. Everyone's like, we might be made with like this gene, but we're all really, really nice. And you know, spin that out.
Yes. I think our bodies, you know, I think about like, you know, my grandmother, who I never met. I mean, she passed away when my dad was 21, 22. And I just think about her and I'm like, she never stood a chance. Like she, you know, she never knew you know, I mean, it's just, like I said, it's humbling that, to carry this burden. And it's also humbling that, you know, there are doctors like Dr. Davis who can literally take out an organ and just leave you with a teeny tiny little scar. And I told him, you know, because I'm pretty vain, I was like, I need this to look like it's part of my abs, right? Like I need this to look like I've got a six pack. So he did a great job.
I like that. Like the shading, the makeup shading, right?
Exactly. Yes. I was like, you know, if I'm going to have this, like make it as tiny, just big enough to put your hand into.
Oh, well, Kathryn, thank you so much for taking time and talking to us and sharing your story. And we're so excited to meet you. And
oh, thank you for having me. This has been just a pleasure and a privilege. And Polly, I'll be praying for you. And I know
I'm going to see your blog every day.
Oh gosh, well now you can just text me and I'll just
okay.
Oh my gosh, well you ladies have a wonderful rest of your week. And
Kathryn, thank you so much.
No, thank you, y'all take care.
Bye.
Bye.